Welcome to the DAZN Soccer Show. Myself, Adi Oladipo, former Arsenal forward Lianne Sanderson. We're joined by former Everton fullback Leon Osman. You know what? Let's start with Everton. Might as well, innit? We've
Yeah,
got former
let's.
Everton legend with us, right? Leon Osman. Everton, I think it's fair to say, Leon, have had a good start to the season. I think a lot of people may be surprised, especially defensively, what they've done under Frank Lampard. We booked Leon, by the way, before we knew that Everton had been beaten by Man United. So he might not have turned up, but he has turned up. Let's talk about that performance. It started well. Iwobi getting a really good goal. He's had a fantastic season. What did you make of the game? Sum the game up for us. Good performance by Everton, or United just another gear?
I thought Everton started the game well. I thought that's exactly what you want to do, be on the front foot, press Manchester United at home at Goodison Park under the lights. It's such an enclosing atmosphere. It makes it makes the crowd feel like they're really involved even more. So I thought Everton used that for the first 10 or 15 minutes, got the opening goal, which was brilliant. Alex Iwobi's been fantastic for Everton for about 18 months now. He really has turned it round because he come under a lot of criticism at the start of his time at Everton, and yet shown incredible character to turn all of that around. So it was brilliant to see him get on the score sheet. But from that moment, I was disappointed in Everton. I've got to be honest. I felt that they scored the goal and then took a backward step, sort of started to defend in their own half, started to defend their own penalty, allowed Manchester United. I'm not saying allowed Manchester United to get on the ball, because United have got a lot of quality, but they allowed it to be easy for Manchester United to have possession in Everton's half. And when you've got that, Manchester United will find a way. I think the funny thing was it was two occasions giving the ball away cheaply, which give Manchester United the goals. But there's no doubt that United were the stronger team. I thought they deserved the victory. I think it was disappointing for Everton, but as you mentioned, Frank Lampard's done a good job so far this season. So I'm sure he'll be trying to put that result behind him quickly and move on to the next one.
Before I talk about my delight of Man United winning and to gloat, I want to give Leon a special mention because we worked together the other week and he told me about Iwobi.
Yeah.
Because I was going, Leon, where's he play? He's playing midfield, he's playing right back, left back. When he was at Arsenal, I feel like he never really knew his position. Leon was like, no, watch him. And since Leon told me that, I started to watch him in more depth. And I was like, because people are quick to tell us as pundits when we're wrong. But I've got to give Leon props because he actually said to me, watch him. And I was like, actually, he's flying. He really is box to box. Not even just like the goal he scored was amazing, bending it in. So fair play to Leon. He called that one out. But
all right, you've given him your props. Go on, let's gloat now. Let's gloat about
Manchester United. I'm not going to gloat because, being a Man United fan is the weirdest feeling in the world. I grew up, us used to winning, everyone used to say I'm a glory hunter. But realistically, my pluses from yesterday were the fact that Casemiro started.
Yeah.
Now, I know he got man of the match.
Shouldn't have got man of the match, though.
But his stats were amazing, right? But when you actually look at the game in its entirety, he made mistakes, right? But what I loved about what he did, he made mistakes, but it was almost like people were going to turn around and say, oh, he's not up to speed yet. It was almost like he fast forward and got up to speed within that one game. Do you know what I mean? He gave away the ball for the goal, and then he's like getting caught in the midfield. And then all of a sudden, it was almost like he was like, I'm not having this. And then he almost turned into similar to N'Golo Kante. But Casemiro is a fantastic player. And I was delighted when we got him. And I feel like when Man United signed players, like when we got Eriksen, they talk about their age, they talk about them being past it. Whereas if Casemiro went to Arsenal or Eriksen went to Arsenal, I feel like they'd be saying, oh, what a signing. Because it's Man United, it's like, oh, he's too old. And put some respect on the man's name. He's been in the Real Madrid midfield for years, won so much. And I like the way he, watch him and everything about him, the way he conducts himself around the pitch. You can see, he's a born winner. You can see it. So that was a plus for me. And obviously Ronaldo scoring. I mean, Martial, I've been critical of Martial and Rashford because I don't think they've been performing well in recent years. Martial's been at the club for, 7 years. Yeah. And realistically, I don't think he's consistent enough. And he picks up so many injuries. But of late, Rashford and Martial have done well. But then Martial got injured again yesterday after 27 minutes. Cristiano Ronaldo came on. And someone highlighted it actually on Match Today saying, he was quick to come on. Coming on in a game in the first half, Leon will tell you, it's not an easy thing to do. Because when you're a sub, Leon was probably never sub because he never missed a minute for Everton. But, you kind of like, in your mind, you think, I might come on in the 60th minute. Or I might have a chance at half time. But to come on in the way that he did, Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. But I feel like constantly people are like, oh, he's slower, he's this, he's that. Did he look slower? Do you think Conor Cody could get near him on that finish? He couldn't.
It's funny, Leon, we talk about Ronaldo and you're thinking, as a defender, this must be your worst nightmare. You've got a hungry, you know what I mean, in terms of 37-year-old, it's something to prove to the media coming on. you're thinking, 1 second, I'd rather have Martial back on, please. I don't want Ronaldo coming back on the pitch. 700 career goals. I mean, if you are very, very lucky, you get to 700 appearances. Even that is an outlier, right? What do you make of Ronaldo?
He's absolutely incredible, isn't he? You mentioned something there. He came on hungry and maybe he shouldn't at 37. That's what separated him from everyone else is hunger to score on every occasion, to sort of prove to himself, to prove to everybody. Despite everything he's achieved and the goals he's scored, he's never fell away from that. He's never fell away from looking at proving it again in the next game, proving he's still the best, proving that he can still score goals. And he's had to sit and watch for the last 4 or 5 Manchester United games, grow in frustration because of who he is. He's had a lot of media pointed in his direction, wondering how he's going to react. Well, boy, does he react in the right way, given the opportunity, coming on, as Lianne said, after 27 minutes and saying, right, I'm going to be the difference in this game. I'm going to be the one that scores the goals. And I mean, what a career. I mean, he's not only just done it in one league. He's been to Portugal. He's been to England. He's been to Spain. You know, he knows he wants to keep on showing every league he plays in what he's capable of. And I mean, 700 goals. You mentioned that. I think I had 400 appearances or something, and he's 700 goals.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's quite incredible. So, you know, I've only got to take my hat off to the man. He is still a playing legend, and that's as simple as it is.
I feel like as well, just to finish off about Cristiano Ronaldo, like I feel like I'm constantly defending him. Every show that I do, I feel like people, like against Somalia in midweek in the Europa League, you could see he was trying too hard. He's missing a strike from 6-7 yards out, you know, and you can see his frustration within himself. And it is Cristiano Ronaldo, so all the focus is always going to be on him. You know, if he misses a chance and he gets annoyed, people are saying he's a bad teammate. Not really, he's just annoyed that he missed a chance.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly feeling like I have to defend him. But I think sometimes, you know, I think people have to appreciate the greatness when it's still here, because it won't be too long before Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, are no longer playing the beautiful game we love, and the figures and the stats that they've been able to consistently do over the years. How many players do we talk about almost like they last a couple of seasons and they kind of fall by the wayside? These two players are absolutely phenomenal athletes. They really are. So for me, Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, he's my favorite player ever. But so I was just delighted that he came on. You know, he doesn't have to prove. Why does he have to prove anything all the time?
Yeah.
It's Cristiano Ronaldo. And I said this before, like when he wasn't playing, they're like, oh, his legs are gone, he can't do this. How can you sit there and say Cristiano Ronaldo is not good enough when our front three wasn't doing anything? Oh, he doesn't press hard enough. Did they watch against Everton when he won the ball back?
Goals last season as well.
Top goal scorer in a really, really poor Manchester United team. Was he second top goal scorer in the league, wasn't he?
Yeah, joint.
Right.
Yeah, no.
But no one talks about that. They want to talk about his age and, you know, his legs are gone. It's unbelievable. So
I agree. But look, he's back now and he's going to get a run of games because Martial is out. The big game, though, at the weekend was at the Emirates for 2 reasons. Are Arsenal genuine title contenders? I think we can say yes. Is Liverpool a blip or a decline? I think it's the latter. I think there's a decline now in Liverpool. Arsenal look really good. Liverpool, I can't believe it. Heavy metal football's gone. They look like their legs have gone. What's going on at Liverpool?
It's a weird one, Adi, because it wasn't long ago we were talking about Liverpool winning the quadruple. You know, it's unbelievable.
That was 4 months ago. 4 months ago.
Mm-hmm. And they can, same as, you know, they can make it better. They can. I believe they can. They got top players, but it's not happening at the moment, is it? And I think a lot of the focus is always on Trent, right? Now, I'm a big fan of Trent. I think, obviously, attacking-wise, and I'm one of these people that don't like to listen to what everyone's saying, and I like to see with my own eyes. But with the first goal yesterday, like, in that game, he gets caught completely and behind. I was never the best defender, but, you know, it was the most basic. It was a great pass through to Martinelli, but you can't get caught like that. And I feel like sometimes people are just highlighting everything, and that becomes a conversation. Obviously, he went away with England, didn't play a minute, and it doesn't really look like he's going to get picked for the World Cup. But then his delivery is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, you know, and a lot of the focus is always on that. But Firmino this year, I think he's had a good season.
Great season.
So far. You know, he's someone that looked like he was potentially going to leave the club. So there are glimpses of greatness, but then at the same time, the game yesterday against Arsenal were flying. I think this is the best I've felt about Arsenal, you know, in a long, long time. And I've said it, you know, why can't they be contenders? And I think it's almost like Arsenal fans don't want to say that because they're used to their team. Look at last year, you know, they should have had the top 4. They had it wrapped up more or less and they threw it away in the end, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think all the teams were almost battling for that 4th spot and no one really wanted it in the end. But so Arsenal fans are, I think, and people are a bit skeptical because Arsenal seem to always fall off at the end. But as we saw with Leicester, right, I'm not comparing Arsenal to Leicester, but that type of story where if they're still top of the league at Christmas, why can't they be genuine contenders?
No, I agree.
And they beat Liverpool. Everyone talks about them not beating the top teams. They beat Brentford, they beat Fulham, but they wouldn't beat these teams in that way last season. 4-0 at Brentford. Arsenal got beat at Brentford in the first game of the season, in their first ever, game in the Premier League in however many years. So there are massive progressions with Arsenal. No one's getting carried away, but I think sometimes a little bit more respect needs to be put on Arsenal's name, because I don't think people are really seeing exactly what they're doing, because Arteta, I've questioned him over the years. I like him as a person, but realistically, he wasn't doing what you could see a plan for them. Whereas actually now, they're doing Odegaard, Martinelli, Jesus. What a signing. So credit where it's due, and hopefully they can stay up there.
Yeah, look, Arsenal fans are excited right now, and so they should be. It's a good squad of players. Leon, I want to quickly go back to Liverpool. Look, you played fullback for so many years for Everton. Obviously, Trent has come under a lot of criticism and stick, and I think rightly so for his defending. I think 2 of the goals yesterday, you could probably blame him. What's going on with Trent, and what's overall the issue you think with Liverpool? Again, we mentioned 4 months ago, they're the best club in the world going for a quadruple. Now they sit 10th in the Premier League. What's happened?
Well, I mean, with regards to Liverpool, just talking about yesterday, which was the most recent game, Liverpool had always overran teams. They dominated teams through the middle of the pitch. They were the team getting the ball back into play as quick as they could, not giving the opposition a chance to get their breath back. They were pulling people all over the place. Their front three were dominant, really. The opposition's defence struggling to keep up. But yesterday, that was Arsenal. Arsenal were the team that was so full of energy and enthusiasm and athleticism. And it was Liverpool that couldn't keep up. And when you look at things like that, you tend to look at the middle of the park, because that's where most of that kind of dominance is won and earned. And Liverpool went with, it was like a 2-man midfield rather than a 3-man midfield. They played an extra striker. And in that 2-man midfield, they had a Jordan Henderson who still can get about, but a Thiago who is amazing on the ball. He really is, the way he passes and pulls strings, and his ability to make opportunities for his team. But he's not the most mobile of players defensively. And if you've already got 4 attacking players further up the field and a Thiago sitting, it's an incredibly difficult task for Jordan Henderson to cover the ground on his own against the opposition midfield, who in Partey, Xhaka, and Odegaard just look so full of energy. So I think that's the area of the field you start with Liverpool. That how are they going to start showing that energy again? Do they need fresh legs? Are they going to rely on Keita's never fit? Oxlade-Chamberlain is never fit. You've got Thiago who's in and out, Henderson and Milner. Can they play all the games? Can they do that job? I'm not sure that they can. So I think they need to fix that problem initially, and then we'll get on to Trent, who I do feel he's being exposed because teams are finding it easier to get at the back 4 at the moment. I feel he is being exposed, but you know what it's like, Leon, when you're under pressure and people are looking at you and you're not playing well and you're trying to get yourself out of it, the amount of times you make the wrong decision is incredible. And you look at yourself afterwards and go, why on earth did I make that decision? You saw for Xhaka's first goal where Trent's in a decent position in the back 3, and for whatever reason, he comes screaming out of his position to overcover Jordan Henderson. It's not needed, and suddenly, he's getting highlighted because he keeps on making wrong decisions. And I do think it's because he's out of confidence, and I do feel like it's because his game's being highlighted at the moment, that every wrong decision he makes is being exposed.
Yeah, look, not good for Trent. Really good for Martinelli, by the way, man of the match. Seems to destroy Liverpool more than Henry did back in the day. I think Jamie Carragher tweeted something along those lines. Let's talk about the other North London side, Tottenham. Big win for them, important win for them against Brighton, who looking really good under their new manager. What do you make of Spurs? Harry Kane scoring again. Not just a Haaland show. Harry Kane's getting his goals as well. Important 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, I don't think any player in the league is going to score any more than Haaland. So it's almost like, I saw Callum Wilson say the other day that it's almost like they're having their own separate competition, with regards to that. So, but I think Tottenham, they were heavily reliant upon Son and Harry Kane, aren't they, to score goals. Son, last year, top goal scorer for me, one of the best players in the Premier League, has been for a few years. And I think when those players are playing well, the team plays well. Bentancur, Højbjerg, they've got some good players in there, but at times they just need a little bit more quality. And I just question their back line sometimes because I don't think Royale is at the standard that I think that needs to be in the Champions League. He might get away with it in the Premier League, but I think to take things further, I think they need better players in the back line. But, good result, good for confidence. Harry Kane will always score goals when he stays, in and around those areas, because when he drops deep, I think it impacts the whole team. And I think when he drops deep, it shows that he doesn't really believe in the players around. Because when I used to drop deep, I'd be thinking, I'm not getting the ball. When you look at a Haaland, he stays in and around that area because he's got the likes of Grealish, Foden, Kevin De Bruyne in and around him. Tottenham just don't have those. No players have those types of teams, do they, in the league? But Tottenham don't have those types of players. So I think it's a good win, good for confidence. And Brighton are still doing, they're flying.
Yeah.
I know Graham Potter, went, but the new manager's come in, done a really good job from the get-go. And you can see what they're doing, because losing a manager like Graham Potter is always going to be difficult. I know Brighton fans, it wasn't a matter of if he would leave, it would be a matter of when. He can't keep turning down all the top jobs, and he wants to set up Brighton, and I think he was loyal to them. He was linked to the Tottenham job last year. So, Brighton are on a good run of form as late, and the fact that Tottenham were able to get the win, I think is fantastic.
Yeah, it's not just losing Graham Potter, it's losing Cucurella, it's losing Basuma as well.
Yeah.
They're still there. Leon, I want to quickly run through some of the other games very quickly. Newcastle putting 5 past Brentford. Bruno Guimaraes looking fantastic. Brentford didn't help themselves, a couple of silly mistakes at the back, but Newcastle under Eddie Howe slowly starting to pick up the results now. I think everyone was a bit concerned at the start of the season. Not so anymore. They look like they're firing as well.
Yeah, I was up at Newcastle to do the game at the weekend, and they were impressive. Yes, you're right. Brentford gave them 3 of the easiest goals that they'll ever score. Well, 2 occasions they allowed them to go pretty much one-on-one with their own goalkeeper after a bad mistake at the back and an own goal. So Brentford didn't help themselves, but Newcastle were terrific. They came out the blocks. They showed this energy we've just been talking about. They were quick to get the ball back in. In Almiron and Wilson and Guimaraes in particular, 3 players that really stood out. Brentford couldn't get near them. Guimaraes was brilliant. He just sat in the front of the back 4 and just dictated the play, kept passing, kept moving, and still managed to get up and score 2 brilliant goals. And the difference I thought about Newcastle at the weekend was I've seen them play well in the past. I've seen them dominate 30 minutes or 45 minutes of a game, and everybody think they're going to go on to win comfortably, and then something will go against them. They'll concede a goal, and that's it. They've wobbled, and the game could go either way from that. But they showed real character at the weekend. They came out, conceded a goal. Brentford were on top just after half time, and then Guimaraes in particular, but Newcastle themselves changed their attitude. They won the ball back. Guimaraes burst forward, done something out of nothing, and then I started to see that character that all good teams need and all top teams need. Eddie Howe has done a great job. The team looked a lot more solid. The team looked like you can see the train. That set piece for the opening goal was incredible. They were so inventive with those situations all day long. But Eddie Howe has changed the mentality. I feel that they believe they can get results at all times. They believe they can give anybody a game. They believe that their teammate is going to be playing well on that day and help them out. And I saw that at the weekend, and I see that they've still got even more potential to progress, which with the financial backing they've got will be a good watch over the next 18 months or so.
Yeah, it certainly will. Good result for Newcastle. By the way, Guimaraes, part of the Brazilian squad. You look at the Brazil squad for the World Cup, it's absolutely frightening. A big result as well for Man City. I say big result. They win every single weekend, don't they? Haaland seems to score every single weekend as well. That's now 7 Premier League games in a row, which is a record that he's joint with Sergio Aguero. 20 goals so far for the season in all competitions for Haaland. Bear in mind, we're in October. 20 goals in October. If you stop the season now, it's a good season for him already, but he's going to get more. I think we'll get 40 or 50, which is incredible. As always, thanks to Lianne, thanks to Leon. We'll see you next time on the DAZN Soccer Show.